We can now confidently say that we have covered a lot of important topics. We have discussed goal setting, risk appetite, the importance of reputation, and the role of luck. But now it is time to discuss something that can be called the backbone of finance, the crux of capitalism and the essence of progress: compounding. If there is one concept that is more important than any other in this book, any other business, or any other financial guide, it is this. But wait, I am getting ahead of myself. So let us start today's lesson right here. After reading this book, Warren Buffett became my favorite investor. However, when I read this chapter, I realize that he is not really a great investor. Not compared to others anyway. I mean, I think he is certainly one of the best investors ever. But the reason why he is so rich has nothing to do with his investment strategies. In fact, the reason for his extraordinary wealth is his age. So now I would like to share a very disturbing fact with you. 99.9% of Warren Buffett's wealth was generated after he turned 50. To be fair, it is not his fault. When he started investing, he was 10 years old. So it is kind of impossible for him to get rich before turning 50. But then again, he also didn't really start Berkshire Hathaway until he was in his 30s. So basically, he spent more than 2 decades doing stuff that were not really that profitable. Well, they were probably necessary steps for him to get to where he needed to be, but they did not really generate that much money. Now this is kind of disappointing, because as an investor, I would love to hear stories of people who got rich fast. But this is also a blessing in disguise, because the main takeaway from this chapter is that his real ability was not his investing skill. His real skill was his time horizon. In fact, if there is one thing that this chapter is trying to convince us, it is that the greatest force in finance is patience. But don't freak out just yet. This is not going to be another one of those videos where I tell you to be patient and everything will eventually work itself out. No, this is not that kind of a video. If you are looking for a quick fix, well, you are in the wrong place anyway, because this chapter does a great job of explaining why we can't actually understand the idea of compounding. Compounding is a superpower. It allows us to generate tremendous wealth and achieve extraordinary results with very little effort. But unfortunately, our brains are not wired to understand it. Why is that? Well, because in our daily lives, things grow linearly. I mean, this is how our brains perceive the world. For example, if I eat 1 apple a day, I will get healthier, but I wouldn't get twice as healthy if I eat 2 apples a day. Now, sure, 2 apples a day might make me feel better. But if I compare that to eating 1 apple a day, I would not say that I am twice as healthy. But in finance, things work differently. Just like in physics, Newton stated that every object in the universe attracts every other object with a force proportional to their masses. In the world of finance, every dollar in your bank account attracts other dollars. These attracted dollars compound and snowball, making you even more wealthy. For example, if I invest $10,000 and get an annual return of 10, I will end up with $11,000. The next year, instead of earning 10 on $10,000, I will earn 10 on $11,000. And the year after, I will earn 10 on $12,100 and so on. And this is just the beginning. Compound returns will magnify your earnings exponentially. And now, I can already hear some of you saying, but everyone knows this. This is not exactly news. Yeah, you are right. Everyone knows this, but hardly anyone understands this. You see, the first few years, the rate of return might seem rather underwhelming. Like if you invest $10,000, a 10% return would only add $1,000 to your initial investment. And to be honest, you could have earned that $1,000 by working a few extra hours. So naturally, most people lose interest and stop investing. They don't realize that compounding is not a linear process. It is exponential. To illustrate this point, let's take a look at the growth of snowballs rolling down a hill. At first, the snowballs grow linearly. The longer the snowball rolls, the larger it gets. But the growth is not proportional to the distance traveled. After a certain point, the snowball starts to gain mass at an exponential rate. The longer it rolls, the faster it grows, which means the further it goes, the more massive it becomes. Snowballs compound in size, the same way your wealth compounds when you reinvest your earnings. Compounding allows your earnings to snowball. This means that the longer you keep your money invested, the faster it grows. The more you earn, the more you can reinvest, which means the faster your wealth grows. It's like riding a bike downhill. At first, it's hard to gain momentum, but once you get going, it's easy to keep moving forward. And this is where most people mess up. Most people give up before compounding kicks in. They don't see any immediate results, so they think it's not working. But in reality, they are interrupting the process and cutting off the most powerful part of the growth curve. Take the case of a couple who saved $200 per month. Over the course of 30 years, they would have amassed a fortune of $1 million. Imagine the countless opportunities and experiences that this wealth could have afforded them. Yet most people stop far short of this goal, averaging only 3 years of saving before quitting. On average, people quit just as they reach the point where their snowball of savings would begin to compound, growing rapidly through the magic of compound interest. This is tragic, because if they had stuck with it for just a few more years, they could have seen their wealth skyrocket. Here's the catch. Compounding is not something we experience in our everyday lives. You see, we are used to living in a world where things grow linearly. Our jobs pay us a fixed salary. We pay a fixed rent. We buy groceries for a fixed price. We watch a movie for a fixed ticket price. The world is full of fixed prices. But compounding is different. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it. It's almost invisible. We can't understand it because it defies our intuition. There's a Zen koan that illustrates this point perfectly. A master asked his student to bring him a cup of tea. The student brought the cup of tea. The master put it down and said, "Make no mistake, this cup is both empty and full. It holds nothing and everything. It contains infinite possibilities." This is much like compounding. It is both nothing and everything. You can't see it, but it is all around you. You can't touch it, but it is always present. Compounding is like a seed. You plant the seed and water it, but you can't force it to grow. All you can do is wait for it to sprout and then blossom. So how do you deal with this invisible force? Well, the answer is simple. You have to trust the process. You have to believe that compounding will happen. If you do, you will be rewarded beyond your wildest dreams. I will finish today's lesson with a quote from Morgan Housel. He says, "Good investing isn't necessarily about making good decisions. It's about consistently not screwing up over a long period of time." I love this quote because it reminds us that we don't need to be brilliant to succeed. We just need to be consistent. Thank you for watching and joining me on this journey through the world of finance and self-improvement. Remember, the true measure of wealth is not just financial. It's also in the richness of your experiences and the depth of your understanding. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and always remember that the best is yet to come.